Hello everybody, it is I, Cool back again, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the 2005 to 2006 Thomas Wooden Railway Stepney. As you may remember, I previously obtained the Ertl Stepney from I believe it was the 90s era, when Stepney debuted in season 4 of the television series. Pulling him out over here. There he is. Stepney has always just kind of stood out to me design-wise and history-wise, and Stepney is a real engine that was allowed to make a cameo in Thomas. Very similar to how the Cars franchise does, cameo characters all the time. Dale Jr., Daryl Cartrip, Jay Limo. And Thomas kind of does that too. We have a lot of real-world engines that just kind of exist in the Thomas universe. We got, City of Truro in the previous season, and trying to remember who else that's like intended to be the real engine. I know a lot of Thomas characters have, their numbers taken from real engines. Like I think Arthur was one of them. Neville was another. Dennis is a one-off prototype. So, but I don't know if they're intended to actually be the main engines or if they just chose them because they chose the basis and then they just used the same number. Point is, Stepney always stood out to me because of like the way they went about depicting Stepney. There's a bit of a controversy surrounding Stepney in regards to how he's portrayed in the TV series, where they took a lot of the real world history out in order to make, Stepney work within the TV series universe. And that really does stink, but at least the episode he debuted in was also pretty good. A lot of this is preamble, though, because, the original Wooden Railway Stepney, just existed because Season 4 Stepney. But this Stepney was created for a much different purpose. By this point, Thomas was in the hit era, as the fandom has coined the phrase. So this was around Seasons 8 and 9, I believe. But Stepney wasn't really in the show up until this point. So you're probably wondering, why did they make an updated version of Stepney of all characters? Well, while Stepney wasn't used a lot in the main series, Stepney would show up on occasion in, of all things, little books. I know one was called Railway Rhymes, and it was depicted as a narrow gauge engine. It was very weird. But the main reason this Stepney exists is because of a book called Thomasaurus Rex, which is about Thomas and Stepney working at a museum which specializes in dinosaurs. So much so that Stepney's main releases during this era, this specific Stepney's main release, was with these fossil cars. So, yeah, Stepney didn't come out regularly. Stepney was exclusively designed to interact with these fossil cars, which is really interesting to me. Just because of the fact that, again, Stepney hadn't been in the show up until this point for a while. But they were still finding a way to use Stepney. I don't think it was like this for Take and Play, which also, no, it was Take Along at the time. Take Along just kind of put Stepney in random packs because they had the mold for him and everything. But for Wooden Railway, Stepney was exclusively the guy with the dino cars. And I just find that a really interesting way this character was depicted. Another controversy with Stepney is this specific item, due to the fact that, comparing it to the Ertl model, you can definitely tell they took a few creative liberties with Stepney's design. It's really unfortunate. But, that's what I'm here to take a look at. I actually took him out with me a little bit. I've been looking at him ever since I got him a while back now. I think it was like 5 days ago I got him. I was really trying to think of what I would say about this item in particular because of its, negative juju, I guess. Alright, so I'm going to try my best to give an honest opinion. The face is one of the main reasons people don't like the Stepney. Ertl Stepney is a really good point of reference because Ertl Stepney is probably the most accurate Stepney toy ever created. The only other one Actually, no. I think it's more accurate than the Hornby toy, since that was literally just Stepney, as in the regular Hornby Stepney, like the real engine with the Thomas face slapped on it. Not literally Thomas's face. They did make a unique face for Stepney, but you know what I mean. Like, it was literally just a Hornby Terrier, but it was Stepney. So there's that. So you can see how Stepney has this, pretty big nose, but sort of, blunt. Got these nice triangular eyebrows. Pretty small eyes, all makes sense. Got this nice smile. And then we turn to this. Yeah, I can definitely see how this would turn a few heads. They detailed his nostrils. And I'm pretty sure the Ertl one does too, but no, wait, no, the Ertl one, they're there, but they're not. Actually, no, I don't think they're there. I think they're not really there, so they didn't depict Stepney with huge nostrils like this. And also his eyebrows are literally just two lines that kind of look like a triangle, whereas here they look more like eyebrows that are just kind of triangular. No, these are straight up. These are straight up arrows pointing upwards, and I find that really interesting. Also, it's not really accurate to his laughing face mask, which I'm assuming is the reference they used for this. I know this because a lot of other Stepney merch uses that as the basis for their, face. It's either that or the face they used on the Ertl one, and I believe the original Wooden Railway one. Although, I don't know. So yeah, you can definitely tell that there is quite a difference in quality between these, at least design-wise. You can also tell that Stepney is very tall. If I pull up Thomas here, right? This is the 2011, 2012 Thomas that I got recently as well in the same lot. He and Stepney are the same size, which makes sense. Wooden Railway tries to keep everyone in a unified sort of size design. But because of that, since Stepney is meant to be a smaller engine compared to Thomas, it makes Stepney look very disproportionate. And you can especially tell that with the side decals here, which clearly weren't redesigned with this, new body shape in mind. And there's just a huge gap here. And it just makes Stepney look very bloated, for a lack of a better term, which is, really just a shame. Terriers are known for being quite short and stout, and so it's rather unfortunate that was lost in translation here. I know this isn't exclusive to Stepney. I believe Fergus had that problem as well. But again, on Stepney, it is especially bad, especially on this side here where you can really tell. I think the smoke box seems to be reused from Thomas, so that's probably what made them think that they needed to, do this. In an alternate, timeline, they probably would have made a unique smoke box for Stepney with a slightly taller chimney, but unfortunately, that just wasn't the case for this era, unfortunately. Other than that, Stepney looks pretty much the same as how you'd expect. Got the improved engine green, which is sort of this olivish color, sort of similar to Diesel 10, honestly, but slightly darker, as you can see over here. It's it's very mustard yellow. I think it's more similar to CGI Diesel 10 specifically. So you have all that. You have the 6 wheels, the 55, of course. The back here is also really stunted. Again, comparing this to the Ertl Stepney, who, by the way, I brought out Thomas just to show, Stepney is supposed to be a bit shorter than Thomas, putting them side by side. Although, I guess Ertl's not really a good source of, comparison for that, since Ertl typically didn't do well scaling-wise, but, I think in this instance they got it right. Again, anyways, here's Stepney, and Stepney has this very curved coal bunker, but there's this little black part where the coal actually goes. They scrap that here, and it's just this tiny little sort of drop. It's just very, very, I don't know. I think again, this one could have done better with a bit of more tweaking and all that. But instead, they just completely. I think the weirdest part is the boiler, how it's literally just a block, because again, on Stepney, you can see, no, the tanks don't go all the way over the boiler. I know this is true on some engines, but not on Stepney, so I don't know what motivated them to do that. Okay, going around. Yeah, it's the exact same side. I do want to point out mine actually has a cracked wheel, unfortunately, but I did get him for basically free. So that's the main reason I'm not super upset about this item. That's the only reason I have this item in the first place. If I were to choose between owning the original Stepney and this one, well, I guess I can't say because I don't have the original Stepney, but I've seen pictures and he does look pretty good. I will say it's not as bad as a lot of older Thomas reviewers made it out to be when I was coming up. I watched a lot of YouTubers, and they all said that the Stepney is the worst thing ever, and that it's an abomination, and it's like, I mean, I kind of get that, because again, I think there are a lot of little design flaws in this item in terms of making it look like Stepney, the character, and Stepney, the engine. But I think overall, it's decent enough. It's not entirely terrible. Like it's still a pretty quality item, I'd say. It is really just the face and the tanks that really hold this one back. I can excuse the short back here. I believe the original Wooden Railway Stepney had this as well, but it's really just, I really wish they'd gone with a slightly different face, or actually thought to make the boiler like round and then have the tanks as like separate pieces or something. But as is. There's also Brio Stepney. Before I end this video, there was a Brio Stepney as well. I think that one might be the best Wooden Railway Stepney. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this item. I hope you all enjoyed the review, and I shall see you all around. Bye-bye.